So Wave 4 just got a trailer whilst I was finishing off my predictions video, and it looks amazing. Considering the disappointment known as Wave 3 just happened, I'll talk more about that in a future video by the way. I really needed Wave 4. I would be lying if I said that I didn't go into the Wave 4 trailer with low expectations, with these tracks being the ones that I thought would appear. However, I was gladly proven wrong. However, will this become my favourite Wave of Mario Kart 8 DLC tracks? Who knows, after all, the DLC isn't even out yet, but this is all just for fun. So let's get started off with the first track, Amsterdam Drift. Amsterdam Drift was a track that I really wanted to like in Tour. Everything in the track should be amazing in theory, a nice variety in obstacles and locations, great music and aesthetics, and even a fairly hard layout. However, I feel like the hard layout is probably the reason why it's so bad in Tour. As I've said many times before now, Singapore Speedway 1 is the best track in Tour in my personal opinion. But after playing the track like 20 times in the Winter Tour, I've come to realize the main reason why I like it so much is because of how well it works in Tour. All of the turns, which would be very awkward in Tour, will probably work very well in 8, along with the difficult to avoid obstacles. This is probably the only Tour Nitro that feels made for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is why the city track was the one I was most excited for. Overall, I'm very excited for Amsterdam Drift. Also, I just realized I forgot to mention that the new music remix is amazing. This was probably the track I was most hyped for when I first watched the trailer, as it was realistically between this and Luigi's Circuit getting into the Booster Course Pass. I thought this would be the track they chose, and I'm so happy I was correct about it. I can tell Nintendo really cared about this track because the visuals are absolutely stunning. I didn't speak much on it for Amsterdam Drift since it was on par with Peach Gardens from Wave 3 in my opinion. But damn, this course looks absolutely stunning. Every rock, every bit of grass has so much detail, and then the lighting is just the icing on top. I'm surprised, however, that I didn't even mention that they added in patuis for literally no reason. It really helps spice up Riverside Park, which would have been admittedly quite empty with no hazards in the Tour version. I haven't yet discussed what makes these specific hazards so special though. When you hit a patui, they will get knocked into the air like most enemies, but they will also launch whatever item they were holding in front of them, which is such a cool idea. Unlike the Leaf Pals in Maple Treeway, you'll actually know what they are as well. This makes going after a patui way more useful than going after a Leaf Pal, which is just going to be so much more fun. Lastly, the music sounds fine. I never was too huge on Riverside Park's music as a whole. If I'm being honest, this and Mushroom Gorge were the only Wii tracks that I was realistically excited for when I realized what the last 6 Wii tracks were realistically going to be. This course was used in Mario Kart Wii to showcase the most underutilized mechanic in that game, the half pipe. These things were turned in Wave 3's Maple Treeway and Merry Mountain, which didn't take full advantage of them, so entering Wave 4 I was hoping this track would return for this reason. Little did I know that we would get 2 half pipe tracks. That's amazing! DK Summit was the one built for this mechanic though, and uses it well with you being able to cut a turn tighter in the Wii version with it. So in case you couldn't tell, I'm excited for the map. Also, the music is great so far, even if it is just a slightly worse version of Pan Man so far from what we've heard. And the course looks decent enough graphically, with the screen at the end of the track being a nice touch. One question though, will we be able to do the gap cut on this map? The reason why I wondered this is because it's possible on Mushroom Gorge. The single might be possible, but you most likely can't do the double. The final course for the Fruit Cup is Yoshi's Island. I was super surprised to see this in the first Wave 4 trailer. After all, I thought they would have wanted to save this as the big exciting track for the full trailer, but instead Singapore Speedway took that purpose. I can't really give my thoughts on the track that well because I haven't been able to play the track since, you know, it hasn't appeared in any previous Mario Kart games. But from what I can tell, it looks pretty good. The course also has lots of Yoshi's Island references. None that I could tell you though because I am absolutely crap at that game. However, this wasn't the only thing announced in that Yoshi's Island trailer, as Birdo was also revealed with 9 different colours. I'm going to be using Black Birdo in case you're wondering. They're an alright character, but now I'm more excited for the future ones, since P.E. Piranha now has a massive chance and I love P.E. Piranha. Riverside Park may have been the one I was hoping for the most considering how much of a possibility Luigi's Circuit was, but what I was most surprised by is Bangkok Rush from Mario Kart Tour. Considering that it was data mined for Wave 5 and it is the most recent city, it's quite the shock that it's here, but I'm not going to complain because this is better than Los Angeles lapsed by a lot, which was the course Bangkok replaced. Although this is one of the best courses in Mario Kart Tour, I'm a little concerned about it being in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and how it will play. For those who actually have a life, Mario Kart 8 has limited air movement when not on a glider, And that's what I'm scared of. This course not only has a complex layout, but also makes you stay in the air for a long time at points. More specifically, the boat section and the parking lot jump. I'm worried it will be hard to navigate those areas. I also fear the stairs to the upper path in the, whatever this is supposed to be section. This is because of how they work in Coconut Mall and Berlin Byways, where they bounce your cart up for a bit for each step. The new version of Bangkok Rush also seems to lack its obstacles. Specifically, the tuk-tuks and the ink piranha plants are nowhere to be seen. So, it sounds like I'm not that excited for this track. But what a mistake that is to think, because I certainly am. It's Bangkok Rush after all, and although I fear it will be underwhelming, I still have faith. Also, unpopular opinion, I really like the new look this course got. Instead of making it an orange skybox, which would blind me to death like with Maple Treeway, they made this pinkish skybox. The majority say that it makes the course look empty and that it's bad, but I disagree. I think it creates a unique atmosphere no other track has. Also, I really like the new music of this course, on par with Amsterdam Drift. Next up is DS Mario Circuit, and unpopular opinion, I'm glad they chose this over Airship Fortress. Before we get to that though, let's talk about a few other things such as the absolute glow up this track got. Starting off with the elephant in the room, the new forest. It's a really cool change they added, and the wiggler should hopefully be harder to avoid, unlike in a certain track since it takes up a lot of the road. The elevation changes are also nice, since I admit this course was kind of flat in the original, even if it did have some elevation. Anyways, now that that's out the way, what was I saying before about me preferring this being in the game more than Airship Fortress? Well, you see, most people expected Airship Fortress. It's popular, it's remade in Tour, and also they just wanted it a lot themselves. Instead, we got DS Mario Circuit, which we now know is coming to Tour. But at the time, we didn't know that, and that's what's so cool about it. It wasn't guaranteed, even if Mario Circuit was in Tour's files. This is great for me, because even though I like Airship Fortress and would much rather have it than this disgrace, I'm not too sure how much fun it would be in the long run. After all, once you learn how to avoid all the obstacles, it's literally just 2 straights, a few turns, and a spiral, which isn't all too interesting. DS Mario Circuit is actually quite complex in its layout, since it appeared in the Star Cup. It also has many obstacles to avoid, similarly to Airship Fortress. The only thing is though, is that it's a circuit. People hate them because Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is going to have 8 once Wave 4 releases. But as a gameplay over graphics guy, this is fine by me. Also, forgot to mention that the course looks alright and the music is pretty good. So, hot take, this is probably the course I wanted the most out of the remaining DS selection, and I'm so glad I got it. This is the other half-pipe track I was talking about, and I think this has become more tied to the half-pipes than DK Summit with how well they are used here. It has the many turns with random half-pipes, and also a straightaway filled with half-pipes. That ticks all the boxes of DK Summit and the Wii version of this track's uses of half-pipes. This track also has an anti-gravity ramp though, which can only be accessible via a half-pipe, which is literally the one thing I wanted from a Tour Nitro to use the half-pipes for. Not only does the course have one of these though, but it also has 2 as shown here. Having a faster alternate route locked behind a half-pipe is such a cool idea, which I'm surprised was never used in any of the Wii tracks. I'm especially happy about it though, since Waluigi Stadium was already one of the courses I was most excited for, before Wave 4 even got shown off. Also, I'm sure a lot of people have already pointed this out, but the course looks absolutely gorgeous, even comparing it to the base game. If Nintendo put this much effort as they did into Waluigi Stadium, I doubt that anyone would care about the graphics. And the thing is, Waluigi Stadium is even one of the spotlight tracks for this wave. By that I mean the tracks that Nintendo wants to put more of an emphasis on, so it's surprising that this much effort would go into Waluigi Stadium. The actual spotlight tracks for this wave are actually Yoshi's Island and Singapore Speedway, 2 Mario Kart Tour maps. Well, technically at least. Speaking of Singapore, wow, this course looks amazing as well. I think it is obvious why this is no longer the opening of the Boomerang Cup. This is just the most hyped track out of every track in the wave. The entire city is all lit up. The neon oranges and blues really go well with each other in the nighttime city. This just creates for a fun party-like atmosphere which can't be said about many other tracks. Sure, most could point out Electrodrome, but the music doesn't really convey it that well. Speaking of the music, there's a reason why I made the music in the trailer the background music. even if there's all those sound effects. The leaked music sounded fine, but it also sounded like they made the song much calmer. But that was only so that the second half of the song could be as fire as it is. But how about the layout? Well, this is where I'm concerned for the course. As I've already mentioned in this video, Singapore Speedway 1 is my favourite course in specifically Mario Kart Tour. But I also said that it's also because of how well the course works in Tour. Singapore Speedway 1, and to be honest, a lot of the course is quite basic. It's 2 glider sections, a long straightaway, and a very soft turn just for the first variant. Singapore Speedway 2 and 3 do have sort of complex layouts though, so there is still a chance that this course could be good, and I have a lot of faith that it will be. Along with that, the underwhelming parts of the course could be changed. After all, Nintendo has clearly edited the model for the course to accommodate new routes. Take this turn near the end of Singapore Speedway 2 as an example. There's even a new starting line after Singapore Speedway 2's glider section. These changes give me hope that my second favourite overall city track and tour will be done justice. Wave 4 seems to me like it will be one of my favourite waves Nintendo can ever make for the Booster Course Pass. Nintendo took some of my favourite courses of all time and put them all in one wave. DK Summit is my second favourite Wii course. Waluigi Stadium is my favourite GameCube course. DS Mario Circuit is my second favourite circuit, and is also the one DS track I wanted after Shroom Ridge. There's the 3 tour cities I was most hyped for. Riverside Park is my favourite GBA remake, which is in an A, and Yoshi's Island looks really good. And then Nintendo just drops a random new character on top of all of that. Each wave had its downsides. Wave 2 had Waluigi Pinball, Wave 1 had Tokyo Blur, and Wave 3 was just entirely a downside. I hate Wave 3. My point is that Wave 4 has no downsides for me. Every track I really like. And that just makes me way more excited for Wave 4 than I thought I would be. To be honest, I'm not really sure how Waves 5 and 6 will be able to top it. I am excited for future waves, as much as the next guy, but to be honest, I think I'll be fine when Wave 4 releases, not as impatient as I was for Waves 3 and 4. Anyways, what are your thoughts on Wave 4? I love reading your comments, and it'll be interesting to see if I'm the only person in the universe who wanted Mario Circuit. Anyways, I'll hopefully see you guys later, and bye!